Good morning. Welcome to In Mindset. I am so excited to be here today and get started with you guys and talk and learn. My name is Vanessa Cooper. I'm a Pinterest marketing expert and content creator, and we're here every Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern. It's me and my clubhouse bestie Connie, who are here always talking. We're not here every Wednesday. If I said every Wednesday, I apologize. We're here most Wednesdays now. And we try to have guest speakers who come and talk to you guys about topics related to marketing or mindset to help your business grow. So today we're going to set, but I'm so excited for you guys to be here. And go ahead, Connie, and introduce yourself and take the lead and introduce Renee. I'm Vanessa, and I'm done talking.
Perfect. Thank you so much. My name is Connie. I go by La Doc. I'm a Christian mindset stress coach. If you've ever been in a room with me before, I'll say that stress is an emotional response to a situation. And as emotional beings, we respond with our emotions all the time. And so I help you stress less so you can live more. And today in our leadership mindset room, that's our topic in the marketing and mindset room, leadership mindset. Today we have a leading expert in that area. Her name is Renee. Renee, if you can unmute your mic and go ahead and introduce yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vanessa and Connie. I'm super excited to be here with you today and talk all about the mindset of being a leader. And there's quite a bit to unpack there. I'll give you a quick introduction of myself. As stated, my name is Renee. I'm the creator and founder of the Ticket to Freedom program. And what I help people do in a nutshell is solopreneurs go from solo to CEO. So that's everything from building a team, having the right strategies and systems in place so that you can have a business that you can step away from at any point that doesn't just revolve all around you, but instead having a business that fits into your lifestyle. So I'm super excited to be here with you guys today, and I'm done talking for now.
Renee, we are so excited that you're in the room with us today. Vanessa and I, like she said, we've been doing this for a couple years already, and we love talking marketing and mindset. And I think one of the biggest questions most of the individuals that come into our rooms have is, how do I get started? How do I overcome, the doubts that I have? And I kind of want to start with maybe like a very basic question. So, self leadership, right? It's being able to develop ourselves, increase ownership in what we do, having confidence, and staying relevant, in the work that we're doing in our endeavors. Tell me a little bit about how you define leadership when you're meeting with these individuals and helping them in their solopreneur journey.
Absolutely, great question. And I love you already basically touched on where I want to go with this, and that comes down to self leadership. So when you lead yourself, when you step into that space, and we all know that space, and we all know the gap of where we've been to where we're going, and we're continuously growing and becoming that higher version of ourselves. So when we're in that space, and we're leading our own life and our own self, CEO of your own life with your heart, that is really where leadership starts and where we can start this whole conversation, because you naturally inspire other people in that way. You naturally lift everyone else up in that way. So I often see people, especially in the professional world, you'll see it all over LinkedIn, they really are overcomplicating the topic of leadership and trying to teach a lot of the tactics. And that's helpful. That's great. Having the right strategies is obviously, that's where I come in, to help people with the strategies that work. But more than anything, and overall, you have to have that willingness and that ambition to step into that version of yourself, to take that leadership role. And it's not by comparing yourself to other professionals or other celebrity leaders that we see or politicians or anything of that nature. It's really being authentically you, leading with heart and out of your head, not trying to figure out, oh, it should look this way, it should look that way, but really listening to yourself and stepping into that every single day. And that's like step one of leadership, is, as you said, it is the self leadership part.
I love that. And so I'm gonna stay in this area, and then I kind of guide you a little bit. So for me, self leadership has three pieces. One is understand who you are. Two is what is your desired experience, like what do you want out of, life or whatever you're leading yourself in. And the third one is what are you doing to intentionally guide yourself to that success. So in those three areas, are these three areas that you work with your clients with? How do you kind of guide them in those three particular areas? I know it's a loaded question, but understanding who you are, identifying what you want, and in intentionally working towards it.
Absolutely. So that's all part of self leadership and just you developing yourself overall, regardless of your role in your business, or if you're, working for somebody else, or if you have people who are reporting to you, looking to you to lead them. This is an important piece of just your own self development. So absolutely, that's always an ongoing trend, an ongoing way of how you're growing and moving yourself forward. But when we talk specifically about being able to lead your business and being able to, like, the more tactical side of what I help people with is like delegating. Well, if we talk about the mindset part of that, is about, and again, it comes really down to basic things, is not taking things personally. This is one of the biggest things, is oftentimes we're so ingrained with how we are our business, and we have a hard time detaching ourselves from that. And what I see people do, and kind of the missteps when it comes to leadership and leading other people along with you and bringing people onto your team, is being able to disattached and not take things personally, and instead be able to look at things from a higher level and objectively, and be able to manage situations and lead people that way. So oftentimes I see people, they're not able to have difficult conversations with people that they're leading, or their clients, or whatever it might be, because they're taking things personal, because they are making things kind of revolve around them. So I think a lot of it has to do with ego work as well, and managing the role the ego is playing in your life.
I love that. Let's go a little bit into that. I think ego is super important. Sometimes we don't even acknowledge that we have that, or that we're focusing on that piece. Can you elaborate a little bit more, and kind of take us through how do you make sure that you pay attention to what your ego is saying and kind of stop getting in your head type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. And the ego checking, this is on a daily basis, right? So it's something that is going to continue to come up. There's not like okay, this is a magic pill that you're just going to take every time. My number one go to, and it sounds really simple, and it is because it is simple, is just giving yourself space. Oftentimes we think that we need to respond to a situation or a person or an email or a comment. We need to respond immediately. And that will always, almost always, lead to a bad response, or a response that isn't thought out, or something that's very reactive instead of proactive. So if you have that discipline or just mindfulness to say, let me just pause quickly, take a step back, close my laptop, go on a walk, sit with myself for a few seconds, give myself an opportunity to reflect and kind of give myself the space before responding. That is just one example of a way that you can check that ego, just giving the space, and you can sit back and realize, oh, how I was originally going to respond was based in ego and was coming from a place of fear, not a place of love. So you can have that realization simply by giving yourself a little space to reflect.
I love that because I think that's important. Even myself, I don't check my ego often, but when I do realize that I'm emotional, right? I'm talking about the stress part of it, reacting with an emotion. I, at work specifically, reach out to somebody who does the same thing I do, and I'll preface it by saying, okay, I'm really upset. This happened. I know exactly what to say, but I need you to say it for me, right? And I use that person as a sounding board so that I can really reflect and make sure that what I'm thinking through, or the way I'm going to respond, or however I'm going to react, is of sound mind, right? Without emotion, and makes sense. And I think that I do that often, but only when I know that I'm not thinking clearly, right? Do you have any tools that you use to kind of always remind yourself, hold on a second, take a step back, check yourself? Do you have any tools that help you do that on a daily basis?
Absolutely. The biggest tool overall is meditation. I know everyone in this room has heard of that already. And again, I want to just make sure we bring it back to simplicity. Simplicity is like the biggest theme of my life. Is It's not complicated. It doesn't need to be this fancy thing. You don't need to put on an app or music or sit on a cushion. The reason why meditation has been such a huge tool, and why I encourage everyone to try it out and figure out how meditation can work best for you, is because it gives you that practice of giving yourself space. It comes in practice. It's, again, there isn't a magic pill, and I'll apologize for anyone who wants a magic pill, because it's not. It's a daily practice, and it's not something that's going to go away. And that's why I love meditation, because it's a structured practice that when you give yourself, say you do 5 minutes of meditation in the morning, you are exercising that muscle, so that when you're in a stressful situation, or a situation where you want to react emotionally, you have that muscle built up already. So that is one of my biggest go-tos, is if you are someone who's tried meditation in the past and you said, oh, that doesn't work for me, give it another go. Maybe it looks a little different. Maybe it's a walking meditation. Anything that you can practice every single day to work that muscle is going to pay you those benefits for years to come, when you are in those situations where, oh, how do I actually find that space? How do I, it comes with practice and by building that muscle. The second tool that is huge is breath work. So there's certain types of breath work that work really great for certain situations. For example, for a stress, I'll just use stress as an example. There's a natural breath that we use, and you can actually see babies use this. So you'll see babies and you'll see animals use it. And when I tell you it, you'll realize, oh yeah, I see it all the time. And it's our natural response to stress. So if you kind of feel like you want to respond in a stressful way, or you feel stress or anxiety coming up in your body, what you can do is you can take a deep breath, and then take another deep breath until you're like at your maximum, and then slowly release it. So again, we're on audio, you can't see me, so let me just do that again. So if this isn't something you've tried before, I really want to encourage you to try this breath work. You take a deep breath in, and then another small one to get as much air as you can, and then slowly release it. And this is so, so powerful, just to, it basically adjusts all your nervous system. So we can talk all about the power of our nervous system and how our body is responding in fear. So if you use that breath to your advantage, it can quickly bring you into the present, snap you out of that emotional stress, fight or flight response, and get you back into the space of being calm and being able to respond more level-headedly.
I love that, and thanks for doing that exercise with us. I think it's super important, because it forces you to focus not on what you're feeling or what's going on, but the breathing. I think that's super super important. What do you think?
Absolutely. So you're right. It does serve a dual purpose in being able to, because your mind is hyper focused on the stress. Like you see that stress or that scathing email that you received, or someone that you hired a freelancer and they didn't show up for the call, and you're trying to figure out like what's going on. This person just ghosted me, or whatever it might be. I'm just using some examples. And so that stressor response is there because it's your fear trying to protect you. It's your fear saying, okay, what's going on? Your vision gets really broad. You're trying to see what's going on. So for you to self-regulate your nervous system, using that breath actually has it serves the purpose that I've described, but like you said, it also allows you the opportunity to now focus on your breath. So you could do other breath work, like say you were trying to calm your nerves and you have like 5 or 10 minutes to sit there. You can do other types of breath work, like box breathing, and you can take 4 seconds to breathe in, 4 seconds to hold, 4 seconds to release, and then 4 seconds to hold. This is box breathing that you could use maybe even for five rounds and be able to calm your nervous system that way. And like you said, you're focused on that breath and not so much focused in on the fear or the stressor or the problem at hand.
Absolutely. So I know that when you first introduced yourself, you talked a little bit about taking the solopreneur from idea to final stage of success. And I love your tagline, have helping them have more while doing less. Tell us a little bit about your program and the type of clients that you help and what it looks like and the value you add.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I shared, I work with solopreneurs, meaning entrepreneurs that are building a consultancy, a coaching, a service based business that's just based on them. They are the sole person wearing all 16 hats in their business. And when you're first starting out, it is really messy, and it should be. It's messy. You're trying to figure out what works for you. As you know, on the online space, there are a gazillion different ways to run your business. And in the early stages, you'll be figuring all of that out. You'll really be getting your hands dirty. Once you've found some success with certain things, you'll continuously want to be growing. You'll continuously want to increase your revenues, but you get to a point and what I call like either being at capacity with your own time or energy, or at capacity where I legit just cannot serve any more clients. And that's where things need to change. That is where the scale tips, and what you are doing to get where you are isn't going to work to get you further. And if you're feeling in your business that there's no way in heck that you could step away, there's no way that you can go and take an unplugged vacation without your business suffering, or you can't go travel the world. For example, I'm in Argentina right now and I've run my business from Asia, Africa, Europe. I've traveled while being able to grow and scale my business and not be affected. And that's because when you look at your business from that point of like wanting to remove yourself, and that's what I specialize in, is helping solopreneurs remove themselves from the day-to-day of their business. And when you look at your business from that higher level with my help, because again, it's really hard when you're so close to the product. You are in the jar trying to read the label. It's very difficult. So what I do is I co-pilot with solopreneurs, step out and look at their business from a bird's eye view to identify the bottlenecks, identify where all the efficiencies can take place, and remove themselves as the bottleneck as they scale. So in a nutshell, that's what I do, and that's at the stage that I help entrepreneurs, is in that growth stage, from going from just them, doing everything, hands and everything, to being able to restructure their business for long-term sustainability and scalability.
Tell me a little bit about some of the questions these solopreneurs should ask themselves to see if they're ready or if they're in that space. I know that sometimes when we are in this room and we have individuals ask questions, one of the questions is like, how do I know I'm ready to scale? Or, oh, I just started, I'm ready to scale right now. Like, are there some questions that you say, okay, hold on, ask yourself these questions and then come to me with the answers so that I can better assist you? Is there some sort of a reflective tool that you have or that you give your clients to really ensure that they're in the right headspace? I think that sometimes people are really eager to continue to move, and they think they're ready, they have the money available, but it may not be the right time, or they may not be mentally ready to put in the work, and that kind of thing. How do you help them make that decision? How do you help prepare them for that next step?
Yes, this is a great question. We can talk about this for ages. And it is situational. That is the thing. So oftentimes people want me to give them like a number And I do, to be honest with you, I do often use 100K as a benchmark. It just helps people keep things clear and like, oh, okay, I'm here, I'm there. But I do have to tell you, it's not black and white, and there's tons of gray. It doesn't matter at what stage you're at, revenue wise, profit, that kind of thing. So I will give you a couple different things that you can actually use tangibly, because entrepreneurs, it's in our nature to get ahead of ourselves and to try to scale. And I want to make myself very clear is that this is not about hacking or taking shortcuts or trying to get someone else in place to do the work for you. And that's oftentimes what I see entrepreneurs doing. So I always, when I work with someone, I'm always very clear. Are you wanting to move out of your business just because you don't want to do the work anymore, or are you really passionate about your mission and how you're impacting, that you want to make it even bigger? So I always do focus on like taking a step way back and working with people who are mission driven and really in alignment with their purpose, but they have come to a point where they're like, I want to serve even more people, but I'm at capacity. Or I want to serve even more people, but I'm trying these things and they're not working. I don't know what to focus on. There's so much going on and there's so many different hats I'm wearing. This is not sustainable. I don't want to be burnt out, but it's not coming from a place of, I just don't want to do the work. And I was told by somebody online that I could just click a couple buttons and make a bunch of money. So I'm pretty much able to sniff people out right away, based on people who are kind of wanting to like hack the system versus like, no, I've done the work. Now I'm to a point where I just really want to scale my business and make a bigger impact, and know that what I'm doing right now is not sustainable. And I don't want to sacrifice my health or time with my family or my time freedom or my energy freedom because of it. Does that make sense? I can give even more details if you'd like.
No, I think that makes complete sense because there's no way for you to have a one shop solution when everyone's business, everyone's state of mind, everyone's goals are a little bit different. And I love that you were very clear on saying I don't have I don't have a one and done solution. Everything is very different based on who's coming and what they're looking for and if they're ready and all of that. I think that's really important that everyone understand that if you don't want to put in the work, you're not going to make it to that next step. That I love that you were very clear on that. If you're looking to step back and not do any work and continue to scale, then you have to put a team in place and you have to set that team up for success, right? If you're not ready to get that team, you have to be ready to put in the work and understand that it's a hard process. It's not something that you just turn on and all of a sudden here come the floodgates of money and clients. As anything, if you work really hard at it, you reap the rewards. So I love that you said that. Um, I think it's also important for everybody in the room to kind of understand that success is measured very differently from one person to another. Although you have that $100,000, idea or a suggestion, it may be that somebody has growth mindset. They're not even anywhere there yet, but they have the will and the power and the resources and the time and they want to get there quicker and they're at a lower, at a lower revenue stage. And I think that's important too. Success is not only the amount of money you're bringing in or the number of clients you have. Success also depends on the person. What is it that they feel makes them successful? What, the other day I was watching TV and somebody said, oh, as soon as you get your first hater, you've made it. Like that's one of the signs of success, right? So when you think about success, when somebody comes to you and says, well, okay, well, I'm at 100,000, but I still don't feel successful. Like that's not where I want to go. Tell me a little bit as to how you help them either reframe or reflect to get them where they need to be able to put in the work.
Exactly. I'm really happy that you brought that up, Connie, because that's precisely why I avoid the conversation about, oh, when I'm at X number of revenue per month, and you see it all online, like $10,000 months, $50,000 months, and I've even myself worked with mentors who have said, oh, until you're at this certain dollar point, you shouldn't be hiring a virtual assistant. And I couldn't disagree with you more. And that's why I'm just like, I won't get into the conversations of looking at business in a very black and white way, because I know that does sell a lot of tickets, because it gets people, okay, you have what I want, you have the $100,000 per month, then I'm going to follow your same framework and your same strategy, without knowing how that person defines their success. And that's why this is so important for you as an individual. I don't care how much money you're making per month. I don't care if you want, a location freedom lifestyle. Like, that's something that's really important to me. It's not important to everybody. So knowing what success looks like to you, and when I'm talking success, I'm talking about lifestyle. And really, and when we talk about tools and practices, being very clear about what success is to you, why that success is important to you. Like, dig really deeply and discover that deeply rooted why, on why you define that to be successful and why it's important to you, so that that could be your mission. That is your North Star. And you remind yourself of that every single day, what you're working towards, and what that definition of success is to you. So I know I went on a bit of a tangent. I'm so passionate about this topic. I hope I answered your question. Let me know otherwise. But yeah, again, like, that is why when I work with clients, that's where I start, is what does success look like to you? What does your ideal work day look like? Because when I work with my clients, my goal is, of course, I want them to make as much money as possible. If you have, and we all do, I know I had a boatload of limiting beliefs about money. I grew up with nothing. My mom worked 3 jobs just to keep the lights on. And I had all kinds of weird ideas about money. Like, if you have money, then you must be greedy. And, me living check to check, that was because I was a good person. And, all of those things will hold us back. So it's important that you are, practicing that self-discovery, that you are actually working on your own self-development, because it's going to be key in your entrepreneurship journey. So when you have those money blockages, that's a different conversation. So I am pro money. I am pro profits. I am pro you making as much money as you would ever need for the lifestyle that you want. But if that's the only thing that's driving you, you will quickly realize, and I'm going to tell you from experience, because it doesn't take much to fulfill your basic human needs, you will quickly realize that your life does not change. And the more money you have, the less that you even want. Like, the more money I make, the more I just invest it. I used to be like the biggest consumer I knew when I didn't have anything. I had $25,000 in credit card debt, and all I cared about was buying designer handbags. Now I have more money than I ever had back then, and that's the last thing that I even want. So again, being very crystal clear about what success looks like to you, and not by anyone else's definition. And I don't even care if that definition was given to you from your parents or a mentor, or someone that you see in the online space. It's very, very important to be crystal clear on your own definition of success. And when I work with people, I want to know that. I deeply embody my clients' mission, their vision and their values for their business, because that's the most important thing. That is the guiding, the North Star, not revenue. The revenue and the profits is a byproduct of that.
I absolutely love that, because I always think, or my dad always taught me, the world is used to living outside your means, and it's so right. I mean, I'm not anywhere near the 100,000 a year, but there's money in the bank. Before, I was broke. I was living paycheck to paycheck, like you said, just buying up stuff because I could. And now it's like, I don't really need that. I don't really want that. I don't really need that. And you know what? I'll skip on that, right? And it's definitely a mind shift thing. But I think it's also important to note that we're not the same person we were yesterday as we are today. Our experiences build us, they change us, they allow us to either recommit to our loves and desires, or etch a sketch it and say, okay, we're starting from scratch, right? We're a long way from what we used to be. I think that's also important too. I think as business owners and entrepreneurs, a lot of us want to continue to be the same person, and either our services evolve or our products evolve, or just us as humans, we evolve and we change, and it's okay to do that. And I think that that's also a piece that people need to understand, or even take into consideration, that you're not the same person you were a year ago when you started, or 10 years ago when you started. I mean, is that true for you?
Yeah, I hope you're not the same person. And it's really uncomfortable stepping out of your comfort zone. Like your brain literally is trying to keep you stuck to where you were because otherwise it feels really scary. And this is our biology. So the more you know about how your brain works, how your body responds to things that are difficult, the better equipped you're going to be as an entrepreneur, as a successful entrepreneur. And again, back to your definition of success. One thing that I help my clients do is taking action on things and doing things way before they feel ready. Because if you're gonna wait until you feel ready, it will never happen. So a lot of times when people hire their first person, for their first virtual assistant to be helping them long term, way before they're ready, way before they're at 100K, and part of that fear is feeling like they're not ready, or they're not the leader that they think they need to be, or they're afraid that this person is going to steal from them or do all these things. And having those thoughts are healthy, but you have to be able to say, okay, thoughts, fears, all of these negative things that are coming up, thank you. I don't need you right now. Thank you though. I appreciate it. I'm stepping forward. And having that positive self-talk and being able to rewire your thoughts and your brain in that way is going to help you continuously go forward. Again, these are daily practices that not few people are willing to invest in and invest in themselves. And that's why, I'll just be straight up and I might ruffle some feathers, but that's why you don't see so much success. That's why you don't see, I think the stat I saw the other day was like less than 12% of coaches and consultants even make it past 100K. And 100K isn't even that big of a number. And I think a lot of it has to do with the desire, the deep desire, and the deep knowing that you are meant for so much more, and you're willing to put in that work of rewiring your brain, and it needs to be done every single day. So to your point, it's helpful to just be doing that and being able to behave in a way that you're becoming before you feel ready. I don't know if you've heard of the concept of be, do, have. Like most people, and that's why, again, a lot of people don't make it in business or entrepreneurship. Most people wait until they have something, and then they start doing that thing, and then they'll be that person. For example, myself, I'll use myself as the perfect example. I'm nervous getting on things like this, like speaking in front of a group of people. I have nerves that could hold me back, so I could wait. Well, I'm gonna wait until I'm at a certain level of success in my life or my business, and then I'll feel more equipped or more qualified to go in and speak in front of people in Clubhouse or whatever. And what happens is that would just hold me back. Instead of putting myself out there and doing things that are challenging for me, it's all an opportunity of growth for me to do things before I feel ready. And then what happens naturally is, again, you're rewiring your brain to believe, oh, you mean business. You're actually taking action. You're actually doing the things that scare you. You're actually doing things that are challenging. And then with that, more success will then come into your life because you're inviting it, because you're rewiring your brain to realize that this is what you do now. You do scary things. You take chances. You do things before you feel ready.
I absolutely love everything that you're saying. And I think that one of the things that you pointed out was when you were talking about the be, do, have. I have a perfect example. So I've never been a runner in my entire life. And in January, a friend of mine said, you really should do a half marathon. And my thing was like, oh my God, girl, you're so crazy. I don't even run. I've never run, never ran in high school. I always had my inhaler. I was always one of these nerds that, two blocks away, I was already having an asthma attack. I couldn't breathe. I was on my inhaler. I really didn't do sports. And she said, you know what? If you really put your mind to it, I'm sure that you can do it. And I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. So the second week of January, I signed up for a half marathon for April 8th. And I called her and I said, okay, I signed up. Now you have to sign up. She says, oh my God, I never thought you would do it. And I said, well, there's no way I'm going to be a half marathoner if I don't sign up. Like, that is I want to have that. I want to have that title. I want to be able to say, I've done it. And, if you really put your mind to it, you'll really work at it. Right. And so, I've been calling myself a runner since January. I've been running every week. I'm running up to 7 miles once a week at least, getting ready for my half marathon, which is 13 miles. Um, but if I had never envisioned myself or seen myself crossing that finish line, I wouldn't do anything that I'd be doing right now. It's hard work, right? So I don't wait to, I'm not waiting for the day where I feel like, oh, I'm an athlete and I run. I'm like, you know what? If I start running now, maybe by April 8th, I'll be able to finish, right? And so I think that that is correlates a lot to business. If I'm waiting to get my big ticket item, then I'm just going to be sitting here and waiting and not doing anything. I'm not going to be able to work towards something. I'm not going to be able to set a goal and intentionally work towards that goal when I'm just sitting here waiting for that goal to get to me. And I think that's super important that you mentioned that, because a lot of times that fear, you also mentioned that it's hard for us to be successful or to go to the next level because it's the unknown. It's that fear that holds you back of, okay, what do I do now? Now I'm here and now what do I do, right? Because it's the unknown. It's not something that we're constantly being taught. We're always constantly being taught of disappointment and, we didn't make it, and we know what it's like to be poor, or we know what it's like to work hard a 9 to 5 job and be tired every day, and we know what it's like to work until we're 60 and then have to retire at 65 and get a part-time job. Like, the world teaches us what everybody's doing and the standard, which really should not be the standard. That should be our starting point. And so when you switch your mindset, those things that you've never accomplished, that people really don't talk about, that people really don't highlight, become less scary, because now there's people talking about it, and now you're like, you know what, it's not that scary. Like, being successful is just takes a little bit more hard work, and I'm doing it for myself versus making somebody else rich. I think everything you've said really correlates to a business, because if you don't put in the work and you don't go out there and start, you're never going to see where you're going to get. You might as well not even start your business and just sit in an office, work a 9 to 5 job until you retire, and that's it. Like, you met the status quo, right? And I think that the biggest thing for entrepreneurs is we no longer want to be the status quo. We want to make our own new status quo. And that mindset shift is really important. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I love your example for the marathon because it took you taking action and committing to yourself. Like, I'm going to sign up first. I'm not going to wait until I feel like a runner. I love that. That's a perfect example. And you're exactly right, as far as all the correlations it has to do with business, because so many people, and I've done it too, I'm raising my hand over here, I've been there, of waiting for someone else to validate me or my services or my offer instead of me validating it and putting it out there and taking action to say, this, this is going to help people in this way, and put it out there and put it out there and put it out there, because nobody is going to come and save you. Nobody is going to come and say, like, oh my God, what you're doing is really amazing. Like, no, you have to put yourself out there first. You have to take the action first and do the things way before you feel ready. Absolutely.
I love that. So I know we're getting a little close to the end of the sorry, I got a phone call, but I know we're getting close to the end of our hour. Tell us a little bit about your programs, how we can get in touch with you. What are some pre-work, if you require any. Vanessa just put up your link on the top of the room for anybody that's interested to click on it. Just kind of go through, what you offer, how we can get in contact with you if we're ready to start growing, continue to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, feel free to check out the ebook. It's all about scaling. Again, really simplicity. Like, simplicity is the theme of everything here. Like, I don't want to overcomplicate anything for any entrepreneur, because I'm just being real. People are out there complicating things so that you can buy their stuff, so that you can think it's more complicated than it needs to be. So my goal with everything and everyone that I come in contact with is let's really bring it back to simplicity and be able to find the points of leverage in your business to scale you beyond success of your wildest dreams. So check out the ebook if you'd like. I'm hanging out on LinkedIn, so you can find me at LinkedIn, Renee La Tour. You should be able to find me immediately. And I also host free workshops every week. You can come to the workshop, ask all your business questions, and I'm happy to answer them for you. That workshop is just designed to give and support other entrepreneurs on their journey, because we are not meant to do this alone.
I absolutely love that. Renee, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I would really love for you to come back to just continue the conversation on leadership. I think it's super important. We think, in my opinion, I think that's sometimes when people say leadership, I think the corporate world, like what's it like to be a corporate leader and leading a team and all of this stuff. But self leadership is really important. I think that we don't talk enough about that. And I think that's the best way to scale your mind to then be able to scale your business. If you know how to lead yourself, it doesn't matter that you know how to lead teams or corporations or large groups, because that is automatic gratification. Like your team did awesome, you're validated, right? But I think that we don't talk enough about self leadership where we validate ourselves. You said it so perfectly. I don't validate myself every day. I always look for someone else to validate me because that's my default, because that's what I was taught. And then sometimes I'm like, I didn't get the validation I needed. What am I talking about? I rocked. I did great. Like, look at everything I did today, or look at how many people I spoke to, or, all the work that I've done. That's validation enough. But sometimes I have to, like, shake my own shoulders and go like, hello, girl, pay attention. You don't need the world to tell you that you're great. You can tell yourself that yourself. But I would love for you to come back and just continue talking about self leadership and, some useful tools or even thought processes that will help people understand that leading yourself is, I think, even more important than being able to lead a team. Because a lot of leaders are great at leading everyone, and then they're just like an empty shell because they get their validation from their team's success, and they don't realize that their team's success is based on them, on the hard work that they put in. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly, Connie. Yes, yes, yes to everything you said. You see it time and time again of people being, again, we're using quote unquote success, being able to manage teams and then they leave themselves empty. They are unsatisfied, unfulfilled, and I truly believe the greatest leaders are ones who do lead themselves first, and they are coming from a place of being so full that their cup runneth over. And I do think that that's for me, in my opinion, the only way to lead, because how you live your life, and when you are in your old age and you're on your deathbed and you're reflecting back, I hope that you feel like you did it in an authentic way. I hope that you sang your song. I hope that you took the risks, that you took the challenges, that you lived up to who you know you could be, because we all know that standard we have within us, and we all know whether or not we were in alignment with that. So to your point, 100%, this is why I love participating in things like this, like yourself and Vanessa offering this. This is a free resource that anyone can hop onto and learn from great minds like you guys about, like you said, social media, about entrepreneurship, mindfulness, all of the things that come along with entrepreneurship. And I think it's in these communities that so much growth happens. Like you mentioned earlier, just sharing our stories and sharing what we've been through. That's the biggest way we can transform ourselves and transform other people. So I'm more than happy to come back in. I'm more than happy to give any tools, any resources, anything that I've used and that my clients have used to grow sustainable businesses. But more so, community is everything. So I hope that a lot of people take advantage of what you and Vanessa are offering, for sure.
Yeah, I hope so too. For those of you in the room, thank you for hanging out with us. For those of you listening on the podcast, make sure you go onto our Instagrams and follow us there. If you have any questions, continue the conversation there. Vanessa, did you have any questions or any final thoughts for us today before I start to close out the room?
No, I just wanted to say thank you, Renee, for coming here and just, giving us so much value and information. It was an excellent conversation. I was just soaking it all in. It was so good. Just hearing you and Connie go back and forth. Of course, Connie does mindset coaching as well. So it was just such a great conversation for me to sit back and take notes on. Thank you guys for being here. But no, that was it, Connie. Just loved the conversation. I'm done talking.
Thanks, Vanessa. So I'll just reintroduce before we go. And Renee, if you can reintroduce too. I'm Connie. I go by Ladak. I'm a Christian mindset stress coach. I help you stress less so you can live more. Vanessa is my clubhouse bestie. She's a Pinterest marketing expert. And we do this room on Wednesdays in the marketing and mindset. In the social media marketing trends room. Sorry, our room is called Marketing and Mindset, and we have special guests every month. We also have one day a month where we talk only social media platform, and another day a month where we only talk about mindset. So, thank you so much for hanging out with us today, Renee. If you can do just a final intro before we end the room.
Absolutely. Thank you, ladies. Again, my name is Renee. I am the business strategist behind the Ticket to Freedom program, where I help solopreneurs go from solo to CEO and lead a business that they are in love with. I'm so grateful to be here with you, ladies, today. Thank you for everyone who's listened in. And I'll just close with saying, give yourself a little space. If you know that self leadership is the first step to leading your business, give yourself a little space to step back and be sure that you are in alignment with that higher self that is definitely within you. I'm done speaking.
I love it. Thanks for hanging out with us today. And remember, your mind is just as important as your marketing. Both of those things together make your business a success. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be closing the room in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.